Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Bitcoin Ethereum report for Friday the 25th of June. What we're looking at here is that on this purple line through here, these are the whales accumulated. So in terms of whales, we're looking anybody above, I think, above, was it 10 Bitcoin or 100 Bitcoin? Anyway, larger orders. So the interesting thing here, though, is just pointing out is that the Bitcoin price in green here is moving down, as you know, but and all the retailers are being shaken out. But the whales here have been accumulating all across here. They've been increasing their buying through this correction here. So the retailers are being turned upside down and the whales have been holding them by the ankles and shaking them out until their Bitcoin drops on the ground. So then they're picking it up. That's what we're looking at here. So it's only a matter of time. If this continues, this buying continues, this large buying continues, that will get a bounce off this low, one of these lows down here. And this is what we'll be looking at today, these lows here. Now, this chart is Ethereum versus Bitcoin. So Ethereum would be the, because it's in front of the BTC, it will be the dominant product market here. So we can see this is a daily chart. We can see that very clearly that the move down here is in 5 waves. So we can see 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. And we can also see, and because we get 5 here, that means after a correction in 3 waves, there's a B wave here, or wave 2, that we would, because we get 5 here, after an ABC correction, we'll get another 5 over here. So I'm just going to go from the daily chart to the 1 hour chart where I've got this labeled here a little bit. But just to give you an idea of timing on this low here. So we've got our B wave high here. And then if you've got a keen eye, you'll notice that this trend here has got a beginning, a middle, and an end. So we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 in here for wave 1 and 2. So we're looking for 5 waves down of here. So wave 1 and 2 here, and 3 here, and 4 here, and 5 here. So we're from wave 2 to wave 3 here, we can see that we've got wave 1, 2, 3, ABC for 4 here, and we're going down for wave 5 here. I haven't pulled that apart there, it doesn't really matter. But we'll be looking for wave 3 low here, and then wave 4, and then wave 5 down here. So it just gives you a bit of an idea of the timing of things. So that could take this market down to this major trading level here at 0.05 here for that. So that's just that market. So we know that Ethereum is a little bit weaker than Bitcoin. And in that note, in a nutshell, we're looking at this like this here. So we're looking for, and I've got it here as an A and a B and a C here for the A wave, because with Bitcoin, we know that Bitcoin started its move down from the top here like a month earlier than Ethereum. So with Bitcoin, we know that we've already got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 down here for the A wave. So they'll both be A waves. So they'll both land at the same time, but then they'll have their B waves and they'll have their C waves. So really it's just a matter of understanding this move down through here now for this. And there's 2 ways to look at this. We could look at it we'll just forget about the A wave for a moment. I'll just move that to the side. But we could look at this here quite simply as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here for wave B, and then we're going down for wave C. Now, as wave C, we'd be looking for 5 waves down. We don't want that wave 4 there. We want as a B wave to a C wave, we'd want 5 waves down. So we could look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. This little horizontal line here is the 38.2% retracement level from wave 2 to wave 3. So it can move down from this point down to wave 5 of C here to make wave A at 1500. If we put wave B over here, and we look at this as an A, B, C, D, doesn't work, does it? So yeah, so that's pretty much how it plays out at that point. But if there was a mistake made back over here, then you could look at it as a triangle pattern to this point. But yeah, so we will look to go long here. We could probably look at that in terms, I'll just go to the tick chart here to understand this wave 4 here and where we could go long if I was wrong. So just going to the tick chart, and we need some more data. How much more data? So first of all, if we were looking at this here as wave 3 low, 1, 2, 3 there, we could look at this as an A, B, C for the A wave, cross for the B wave, and then up for the C wave. So in that case, from wave B to wave C there, we'd be looking for 5 waves. Okay, so if we open this up a little bit, we'll look at, you can do your own homework on this, but basically wave 1 and 2 here, right? And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, the fourth wave, and the fifth wave here for wave 1. So that's wave 1. Then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here for wave 3. So I'd assume this is wave 4 here coming into play. Might get a bit more complicated, and then we'll have wave 5. So if we get wave 5 of C of 4 here, then that means that that top there, when that comes in, then we could trade long above that. Any move above that we could trade long, because if it was going to be wave C with wave C of 4 here in 5 waves for the C wave, then we would retest this and would come lower from that point. But if we take this high out here by a move coming up here, we can go long, because we would be wrong at that point, and then we would come back to this point here, which we'll probably see in Bitcoin a little bit more. Then we could look at this as wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, but it's hard to call this wave 2 here, to be honest, because it's rather big compared to wave A here, or wave 1 in this case. And we could also, we could also have Ethereum being weaker than Bitcoin, because we can see that in the Ethereum Bitcoin relationship chart that we just had a look at before. So it would be okay for Ethereum to move lower and Bitcoin to move higher, because in reverse we have seen Ethereum move up for a month while Bitcoin was moving down for a month at the top of the market. So anything is possible, but in terms of putting your trading hat on, then looking at this as 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, fourth wave, and fifth wave. So we'll need to make a new high above wave 3. So don't go chasing that. And when that new high comes in, it will fold back. And when it folds back, then you can put your trigger to go long above that high. You could go down to the second high if you wanted to. You could even refine your position as well further on that note. So that's where that all stands, really. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Okay, so this is Bitcoin on the monthly chart here, and this is the stochastics here. So we can see from this last bull and bear market that we had, both of these have pulled back down for each one of those, but we're far from that here at the moment. When this indicator basically flatlines like this here, that means that it's making new highs here. That's what it does, and you need to lift it up a degree higher at that point. But here we've got a clear signal for this. Now we also know too that, well, this month is not over yet, but it's the 25th. But we've got lower volume on this last bar here. So we know that the sellers, the people that were selling have pretty much sold to a point. there's still money, there's still retail money flowing into exchanges. So there's still sellers there, but they're drying up. So we can expect a low to come in this point. Now, the count that I have for the downside here is, I'll just remove these. We don't need these here for a moment. So, as I mentioned before, and as well as you know, Bitcoin started its move quite a bit earlier than Ethereum. So we're kind of left with this particular structure here. Now, the thing with this is that as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, it's all fitting quite nicely. There is another way that I could count this, and we'll have a look at that as well. We have made a new low from wave 4 to wave 5. We have made a new low there, so that does satisfy that. But at the same time, the market could go lower. So all of this move down here could be just wave 1, so to speak, back for wave 2, and have 3, 4, and 5 in here. So that's also possible as well. We just got to keep an eye on that. I don't think it's the case, but you know, we have to look at, if we're looking at all possible counts and both sides of the coin and so on, etc., then we've got a better understanding of what point in time and price that we need to act. So just having an opinion and being set on that opinion, you want to make sure that you're right, because if you're wrong, you're really going to be wrong, you know. So yeah, this is sort of where we're at with this at the moment. So just looking at this wave 4 pattern here, we can maybe the 4-hour chart, I'm not sure, remember, we could look at it like this. The thing is that with Bitcoin made a new high above here where Ethereum didn't. We've also left with a clear 3 waves here in this structure. So there's different ways to count it. I've counted it here as an A and a B and a C and a D and an E wave here. Folks might not be happy with that, but it sort of fits okay. As such, we may have a low in here. So we're going to be looking at that. As I mentioned before, the 35,000, which is this level here, is really quite important, as you can see, because you can just see that it's the balance line, and it's halfway between 30 and 40. So the 35 is, you know, it's going to be a balance point. So for a safe long trade, we'd want that 35,000 as the tested support. That's what I've been harping on about. We do have a long position in just above this high here. We'll look at that as well. There's different ways to count this. I'm not sure where I've got that. We could look at it like this too, really. We can look at this as the A wave down here, the A here, an ABC for the B wave. Oh yeah, that's right, an A here, a B wave here, and a C wave here for a larger B wave, and go up for the C wave there. It's a bit of a long shot, this particular count. It's possible. It just, I don't know, having this as a wave 4 here and a wave 5 here just kind of got the right look and feel about it, the right perspective as the look and feel, as they say. But yeah, I mean, we just got to, you know, continue to look at things. But the bigger picture is that, you know, we know that we've got 1 and 2 and 3 here, or even to here, whichever way you want to count that. There's a case for both here. And then we've made a new low. This is corrective. You can't argue that that move up there was corrective. All of these, that's corrective. So this is a corrective pattern, which is really a continuation pattern. And it did continue, and it did make a new low. So, and it does present 5 waves down here. So is it finished? Could it go further down? We can count 5 waves in this little move here. So like I mentioned before, it could come up to the box here and then have, you know, 3, 4, and 5 here. Now, you obviously got opinions about that. But you know, we have to look at everything. Otherwise, we've got a low in place here, and we're moving to the upside. And we have a long trade in here at the moment, and we'll look to add to it on top of 35 if that presents the opportunity with a classic trading levels pattern. So at the 35,000, we'll be looking for a pattern like this. So that will be, if that's the 35,000 here, we'll be looking for the arrival, which we've got. We're in the reaction stage at the moment. We'll look for the first high above the level, and then we'll have a look for the correctional part here, and then we can move in over here. We can reference that high to go along on. We can reference the B wave high, or we can even get down here further. We also know with Ethereum too, when we were looking at Ethereum, that that we're also looking for one more high in Ethereum too, weren't we, to see if it goes there, and then that would become our reference point. That's exactly the same thing we're going to be doing with Bitcoin, but Bitcoin's got more of a positive count. And we know that, we can prove that because we've got the Ethereum Bitcoin cross relationship. So I don't know. Okay, we can use the 1 hour chart here. So we can have a low in here of wave 5, right? And this could be counted differently here as well. So I could just, well, the different way that this could be counted, we'll have a look on the tick chart, but you could count this down here as 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 here. And it'll lay it out differently here, and that's okay. But still, whichever way I count it, it's still 5 waves. So in this case here, we've got a bit of a case where we've got wave 1 here, 2 here, 3 here, 4 here, and 5 here. So we could look at this as an impulse wave. It could be wave 1, or it could be wave A, and this could be a wave 2 or wave B. Like I said here, we've hit on the 35 here. We've got that move back from this point. So yeah, much the same as Ethereum. So what we're waiting for here to see if we get one more high to come in here. I've probably done this a little bit high here, so we could probably clear that up a little bit because it's a little bit too high. It might lead you astray here, but we're just looking for the first high above the level in there somewhere. It may go a bit higher, and then we're looking for a corrective pattern here because this trend here needs to be corrected, right? So that would leave us with, we'll have a look at this in more detail, that would leave us with that high and that high to go along on. So really that there could be wave 2. I'm not saying it is, but it could be. So it's only when this B wave is breached and this top is breached that would be more bullish at that point, and we can move in at that point. Let's go to the tick chart just to evaluate this further. So on the 100 ticks, and we'll bring in 20 should be fine. So yeah, this is the other way to count this here as well. I don't want to go to 50, but oh yes, where are we? 20. Okay, I'll go to 50. So from the top here, we can count that down as 1 and 2. This is all 1 degree smaller, by the way, just the labeling, but the count's the important thing. So 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, fourth wave, fifth wave for the third, the fourth, and the fifth. So this is probably the right count, but it could be 1 degree higher. It does give us 5 waves, whichever way you look at it. The move up here is what we're trying to figure out. So on Ethereum, we got wave 4. And in this case here, if we looked at, yeah, it's hard to get. Yeah, it can only be wave 2 here for this. But Ethereum can be wave 4 because they can be different. It's okay. So the other point here is that we just, sorry for fluffing around a little bit, but so roughly speaking, we got our 50-60% retracement level coming in here, and that's the 50. So, and we know that the 35,000 is the halfway mark between this major level and the medium level here. So we've got, normally when you talk about the trading levels, we've got major levels, medium levels, minor levels, and then we got sub levels and micro levels. So and we're using the price here as a Fibonacci ratio rather. So just as the way that you would use a fib tool, so to speak, it's the same thing, just using price to do that. It's just another way to look at it. It's just something that dawned on me quite a few years ago, and I've used it ever since, and it plays out nicely. It also brings, what it really does too, is it brings your attention to the price much more, because when you talk to a professional trader, they'll say everything you need to know is in the price. I mean, what the fuck does that mean? You know, so there's different ways of viewing. You know, there's different ways of looking at different things. But anyway, getting back to this, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I know that's a bit of a dodgy count, but it counts okay. You know, it's a nice wave 4 sideways. The wave 5 is shorter than wave 3. And that normally happens in a wave 1. That's very sort of, this kind of behavior is quite typical. And then yesterday we're looking for an ABC to come back, so that's cool. In this case here, I was counting this here as 1 here and 2 here, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for the third wave and the fourth wave and then the fifth wave here. So I think that we could have this here already, but I know that with Ethereum we've got one more push up. So I can see we could look at this as corrective as well. So because this is the 35 here, just remove that. Because that's the 35 here, that's the 5 is the second strongest number. The 30,000 and the 5,000 doesn't really matter. It's just the 5 that's important. So Ethereum's got to push up. So maybe I've counted this wrong here. I need to go back and check it out. But for the classic trading levels pattern, we need the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level. Let's just take it to, what number is that? 35,500. That would be a nice number. And then we would have that first high in there. So we could actually retrace this, you know, if we were looking at this, we put this here. The market could fold back to this point. So don't panic. It can come back to the 34. And 34 is an important number too in terms of price ratio, because when you're talking about the Fibonacci sequence of numbers, you're talking 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, 89, and 144. And 144 is really important as well, because when you're talking about Gann's work, 1212 is 144, the square of that 144 is really important. But there's not a lot of difference really between Gann numbers and Fibonacci numbers. But I find the trading levels is a really nice breach between the both of them, because it brings in the psychology of people thinking about price. And with price, that's where the orders come. You know, people think that, you know, people would think more about the number 10, which is number 1, than they would at 9 or 11, so to speak. So there'll be more orders coming in at 10. That's why you wouldn't put a stop at 10 or at whole numbers, because that's what everybody's thinking about. You know what I mean? You're attracting flies that way, you know? Anyway, what we want to do, apart from waffling on again, is that I've got 5 waves up here. But let's just imagine for a moment there's another 5 waves. We get that up here, little move up here. We want that first high above the level. It's possible for this to continue higher at that point and to keep building on itself, or it can drop back into this trend line area through here and then move up onto that 34 area. So yeah, we're just really looking for 35,000 as support, as a tested support. So visually you can see it in your own way, which is support. And sometimes it's easy to see, sometimes it's not. You know, if we look back down at the last level here, just checking it out for a moment, you know, it's good to look at hindsight. So we've got the arrival here, we've got the reaction, we've got the first high above the level, we've got an A wave and a B wave and a C wave here, but we made a new high here. So you may have gone high, you know, we could have, I could have gone long here, but I still would have given it a chance. Do you know what I mean? To move up at that point. And if I'd made a mistake and got out here, I would have gotten back in over here. And in fact, if I open it up, I would have gotten in over here if I was building positions on this first high of the level, because it's retested here and moved on. And if I refine it again, I could have gone on top of this one here as gain as well. I mean, I didn't, I'm just saying. So sometimes it's a pretty picture, sometimes it's but ugly, but be a bit philosophical, don't overtrade, less is more, and so on and so on. And starting to sound like your mother, so I'm going to cut out and enjoy the weekend. Cheers.